And it really hit me. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I decided that's it. I'm fucking done.
So we have finally come to the last episode of this series of Heywood and stuff. That's not to say that I won't be doing more. I'm going to change the way that I do these episodes. Boring, sharp. In this episode, I speak to Jason. He has one hell of a story on him. Used to like drugs. He's a tattooist, but he believed that that was all for him. That was going to be, that there would be no more. And then through meeting Mother Aya, plant medicine, getting in touch with spirit, an awakening of sorts, he discovered that he had a lot more to offer humanity than what he once thought. And this is his journey.
Welcome to Heywood and Stuff, where I dive deep into the human experience with humour and heart. Join me as I explore self-awareness, growth, and the stories of people who have overcome some of life's challenges. I'm here to share positivity, gratitude, but most importantly, boopity boop boop, me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of it. Yo. Welcome to my studio. Jay, mate, thank you for coming in. I've been excited for this one.
Yeah, have you?
Well,
yeah.
oh God, I can't say that now. It sounds like I've not been excited for the other ones. I've put a little bit of extra added pressure on myself for this one.
Okay.
Because when we met just a couple of weeks ago, I felt like we vibed really well.
Yeah.
And that we've both had similar journeys, but I almost feel like you're a little bit ahead of me in terms of the things that I really value in myself.
Okay.
Where I'd like to start with is how much has your life changed in the past couple of years? Because am I right in saying it's been the past 2 years where a lot of the transformations have begun? Or
yeah, in the past 2 years, life's transformed. If I go back 4 years, it's unbelievable, man. You know,
where were you 4 years ago? Who was Jay?
Just over 4 years ago, I was engaged to get married. I had all the White House, white picket fence, you know, everything we could ask for, what we think we want. And although I had all of that, I was struggling with my mental health. I was using cocaine to a degree that I don't know how I'm still alive.
Really?
Yeah. Like probably about... I was blowing about 1,000 pounds a weekend in the end.
So what was life like? What was the average week like back then? Like run me through it. How would you?
It would be
survive.
Go to work, tattoo, finish work, drink, packet of cocaine, go home, sit with the lovely woman that I was with, who had obviously we all have our own issues and there's no blame on any of it, but. We'd go back, and then I wasn't able to express my needs or where I was at or how I felt because of that. Then I became overwhelmed because of the lack of being able to stand in my power. So I'd go home, and then we'd drink, and then I'd end up getting more, another packet in, and then it'd be a couple hours sleep, and then I'd get up, go to work, another packet of cocaine, drink, tattoo, repeat.
Can you look back on those days and see why you had this, like some would say, self-destructive way of doing things? Like what was it that puts you into that kind of rhythm? Because I only say it because I think anybody can find themselves in that position where it's like drugs, drink, repeat, drugs, drink, repeat. And still maintaining a life.
The depth of it is due to unresolved and unrecognized trauma. Although I knew I had some traumatic experiences, I was like, oh, that's normal. And I just glazed over them. And I think from the glazing over and the non-recognition and not doing the work or recognizing that I even had work to do, it just fed the beasts inside. It fed these parts of me that felt like I wasn't good enough, and that in order to feel good enough, I needed to, you know, indulge in hedonistic behavior. So yeah, that on top of, you know, not really knowing what I wanted in a relationship, that fed into it a bit, and not really knowing who I was and allowing my ego to show me what it thought I was and what life was about.
Did you put a lot of value on your relationships in terms of that defying who you were as a person?
They were codependent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been codependent most of my life, and that I'm aware of now because I've uncovered the abandonment.
The abandonment issues as a child?
As a child, yeah, throughout my childhood, yeah.
Is that like an emotional neglect thing, or I don't know your history in terms of your parents and stuff?
Emotional neglect to a degree, emotional abuse.
That'll do it.
Yeah, physical abuse.
Oh, fuck.
From my father. I've forgiven him though, you know. He was lost in himself.
Absolutely.
Getting emotional. And one parent would leave and I'd be left with one on this side of the ocean, and then one would come back and then I'd be brought back over here. So it was like from the age of, I can't remember how old I was, because I think it was pre-verbal. I was taken away from my mother from a 6-month period. So there's boom, boom, you know.
So stability's shot to shit.
Shot to shit from the beginning. And then it was just a case of moving backwards and forwards my whole life. So I never had that common ground. So when I found somebody that I thought I had the common ground in, it was like hugging. It was like
in the form of a relationship.
In the form of a relationship, because I didn't have the roots that I required to hold myself in place. I was holding on to them like a tree, you know, like, please just keep me safe, shelter me, you know.
Because you haven't got your own foundations to hold a relationship together.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, so, and that's, when I look back now, I'm like, haha. And it's only this year that it kicked in and I went, not again. No, not again.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, how do you get from a place of essentially running on automatic coping strategies from your traumas to a place where you have this self-awareness with or without a relationship, but then going like, I recognize the pattern now?
The thing that helped me to recognize it, the main factor was my daughter, and what it could have been done, or what has been done, and what it has caused in that relationship. But at that point, it wasn't quite apparent. That's what woke. She's 12 years old.
Okay.
That's what woke me up big time. The other factors that kind of fed into it was the fact that I was so self-destructive and feeling unheard in my relationships and not valued, and almost I felt used to a degree, but that was my own stuff to own. It wasn't anybody else's. And not able to express it, that I burnt it down. I ended up going over to Chicago, went on like a cocaine binge, went into a strip club, like did all these things, blew loads of money, you know, did loads of drugs, came back. And then she went through my phone, rightfully so. You know, I would have appreciated if she would have just asked, but, you know, I wasn't communicating. And then she found that I went on this like debaucherate kind of thing.
Is this your partner at the time?
Yeah, my partner at the time.
All good.
And I got a Chinese, fell asleep, woke up to her saying, "Get out."
Fuck.
Thrown out the house. By that point, there was a lot of push and pull dynamic that was going on. And, you know, again, I don't blame her for where she's at, but whatever was causing that wasn't the right way of going about it, and it was subconscious behavior as far as I could see. And I went, right, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm out. That continued on for 2 weeks, sleeping on people's sofas, doing things that I wasn't necessarily proud of, you know, full on like 5-day sessions, no sleep. And I sat there with my buddy Lee, and we were doing MDMA, and I did like a line of MDMA, sniffed like probably about half a gram, got high for about 10 minutes, and then it went away. And I was like, I've got to do something.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. This isn't sustainable. I went and picked my daughter up. I sat in the car, and it really hit me. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this beautiful little girl needs her dad. And then I decided, that's it. I'm fucking done.
That was your
Yeah.
That was your moment.
Well, the moment was the week before. I'd gotten clean. It was the 26th of October. I think it was the 26th. I've lost count now, which is a beautiful thing, isn't it? And then when I picked her up, it was just like click. And then I went, right, okay, I don't even have a house now. But I've still got my daughter. I still have my job as a tattoo artist, you know. And then I had to just build it back up. At that point, I thought I lost everything. And what everything was actually nothing.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? These things that we put attachments onto. It's like, oh, well, I really need this. And it's like...
Oh, man. And if you're taking lots of drugs on a subconscious level to cope with your reality and then take the drugs away and you're like, fuck, my reality's got a lot of positives going.
Yeah.
But sobriety is sometimes what is needed to see any of that.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So...
But then it's like raw. Then everything feels raw.
Yeah, well, it was quite raw, and I was homeless for about a month. You know, I was sleeping on sofas and stuff, but that's not a home. And I reached out to a friend, she took me in, and then I started microdosing mushrooms. And that really started to help. And then I had a mushroom trip that was like, you know, a little bit heavier than a microdose, and it snapped it. Instead of it being a struggle every day to like me wanting to really go and drink and have this cocaine, I saw, well, if I do that and then that, then, well, tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to feel like shit. And then I'm going to continue to feel like shit for however long this continues. And I was just done. Absolutely done. So the gifts of
The mushroom.
of psychedelics, yeah.
Yeah, right. So would that then be the beginning of your journey into things like psychedelic therapy and spirituality? Or had you already had a spiritual kind of connection before?
I've always had a spiritual connection before. It was just, I didn't know how to deal with it or how to accept it. It was just something that, as a man, you know, you go around talking about spiritual stuff. Back when I was younger, and probably when you were younger too, your buddies would be like,
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like, no way, man. Like, go. I think you're going a bit crazy. You know.
Yeah, it's funny. I speak to lots of different guys now, and some of like a spiritual, with a spiritual kind of life force, and some that are not anti-spiritual, but they kind of still have their nose up a little bit, and it's like, you know, they have their skepticism about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more people that are open to listening and talking about it now. When do you feel like you started leaning more into the spiritual space and everything that it encompasses?
I mean, I think it was pretty quick. From what I can kind of remember, it was probably about 6 months after I got sober. I always believed that there was something on my side. There was always an angel looking after me, or now I know it's not just angels, but we'll get into that. Just because of the life that I've had, like I know plenty of people that have had the similar goings and are unfortunately no longer with us in this realm.
I wanted to ask you, like, we'll go back to it. It's a slightly complicated question because I'm not sure how to ask it, but how, like, intrinsically linked is, in your opinion, mental health and spirituality? Because I've seen, just from my personal experience and other people, that mental health can get really, really bad, and then there's like a breaking point or a turning point and it almost feels like spirituality kind of blossoms on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
At least that was kind of my thing.
Yeah.
How interlinked is your mental ecosystem and your spiritual ecosystem?
They're meshed. It's symbiotic. It's what's excelled me in being the man that I am today.
What are your... First of all, is it a belief or a faith? Or is it is? It is. Because I think people get hung up on terminology, right?
Of course they do, yeah.
Because it's bigger than the words that we've got.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So, like, belief almost doesn't do it justice either, right?
No, it started as a belief and then turned into a faith. I have faith, man. I can tell you some stories and you're like, I think I already have.
Yeah.
You know, and...
What do you do in the spiritual space?
Such as with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my spiritual practice is it's very basic. It's to show gratitude to the divine, God, the creator, whatever label you want to put on it. I think it's labelless, if I'm honest, but if we as humans need to put it into words, right? I just give thanks to it every day. I recognize the miracles it puts in my path. You know, if I'm having a certain blockage, then I'll use a deity like, you know, Ganesha. I'll call him in and, you know, do some mantra work with him, ask him to remove the blocks. I reach into multiple bags of multiple religions because I don't feel like any one of them is exactly it. I think they all have their own beautiful gifts, and that there shouldn't be just this is how it is. I believe that we can use all of the tools that are given to us from all of the people that have discovered all of this miraculous beauty of spirituality around us.
And the sound baths that you do, how does that relate to the spiritual space, and how can it help people?
Well,
who are spiritual or non-spiritual, right?
Yeah, well, I've every sound bath I do is in sacred sound. So I call in my guides, I call in the divine, I call in the deities that have helped me through my journey. I call in the plant medicine gods and goddesses that I've worked with to create a space, and that seems to create this transformational container that I give myself credit for with my own intuition, but I've been heavily guided with the work that I do, because sometimes I'm just working around with people and then they come out and poof, it allows them a space to journey within in their psyche without the chatter of the mind to, you know, the monkey mind to kind of start trying to figure it out. So I think from what I've seen is it either allows total relaxation in some cases, but also allows some shifts because of discomfort in sound, or unblocking of energy in whatever way that works.
And all of this can help somebody even subconsciously, like, because you're very good at verbalizing what's happening.
Yeah.
But for somebody who might not understand any of that, they can still be present in a sound bath and reap the benefits.
Of course they can, yeah. The different notes and hertz that are used within the sound bath, they actually cleanse us cellularly. So you don't even have to know what's going on. You can just lay there, and they reprogram the cells to vibrate at a higher frequency, which then can help with things like stress, PTSD. The list goes on and on.
I fucking love it.
I've
I've seen just on social media, there's been, I don't know if the right word's a shift, but there's been like an awareness of how vibration and frequency can have such an impact on everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like down to the cellular level, like we are all just vibrations between atoms, right? Like,
of course we are.
We're just
yeah.
energy. We're all, so everything's vibrational and like frequency.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when you start being able to use that to people's advantage,
it's incredible.
it gets really exciting. And for those like, for people that are like, you know, very science-based, like there's a science to it. Like you can see the frequency. There's some physics shit.
Yeah, there is
going
some
on.
physics shit going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Even like, you know, the overlap of, I was saying this just the other day, like quantum physics and spirituality, like there's some spiritual shit going on in quantum physics, right? Like some out of this world stuff.
The science is now coming into spirituality.
Yeah.
The imprinting of love onto a vessel of water and then given to somebody is proven that it then molecularly changes us within.
Yeah.
Scientifically proven, man.
They've done similar experiments with like I think it's like a bag of rice and different bags of rice, and then one bag of rice gets given lots of hate.
Yeah.
One gets given lots of love, and the reactions of the rice, like the one that given the hate starts rotting.
Yeah.
You know, and the other one lasts a much longer time.
Yeah.
It's kind of mental. It makes you realize like we need to be talking to our plants in the house more. You know what I mean?
Well, talking to our plants more on a positive level and ourselves.
Yeah. Because the power of words.
Because we'll
is
just
like,
rot ourselves, just like we
Yeah.
can rot something else.
we do.
Yeah.
Last time we chatted, we talked a little bit about ADHD.
Yeah.
Right. Why do you laugh?
just because.
Because.
Because of the how we communicated.
Yeah.
It was so ADHD, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Most people would have been like, "How are you guys keeping up with that?" And we're like, "I don't know. We've got 5 different conversations going at once, but we figured them out."
Yeah, right.
Superhuman, man.
When did you discover that you were ADHD?
I was diagnosed when I think I was 14 from my memories in America. Yeah, prescribed Ritalin. Then when they stopped with the Ritalin is when I started taking the drugs to self-medicate.
How much do you feel like the ADHD has shaped you?
I try not to put that label on myself with it because it's got too much negative incantation to it.
Does.
I'm really into my human design stuff. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Tell me.
So human design's it's a spiritual tool that somebody had got a download for. They've created it, and it tells you how you operate and whether you're. There's a couple of different ones. I'm a manifest and generator, so I manifest and then generate, and then you get projectors who they then take that and project it out.
Cool.
It's really, really cool. But in that, it actually tells you that, it's given me because I start loads of projects and then I don't finish them. And that's what we do as in generating manifestors. We create, and the best thing we can do is create and then hand over.
Yes.
So we create and then hand over, and then create and hand over. And we only do the things that we really love, which is like a thing of ADHD, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah, there's loads of like super like successful in inverted commas ADHDers, but it's because they've got help. They've got help to complete the boring shit.
Yeah.
Or what they find boring.
That's exactly what I've just done last month. I've hired a team.
Yeah, it's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important, and it's not a fault. It's it's an awareness of where your strengths lie. You know, and there are other people that are really good at the paperwork and the efficiency of keeping everything organized.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I struggle with all that shit.
Same.
Okay, so we touched a little bit on like what a normal week was like for you a few years ago.
Yeah.
When life was a bit chaos or a lot chaos.
Yeah.
What does a normal week look like for Jay now?
A normal week to me is, self-care daily.
What's the self?
So
What's your self-care?
my self-care stuff's like, I do.
This is invaluable, by the way. This information.
Yeah.
It's invaluable
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, I do transcendental meditation, which is a form of meditation where they give you a mantra that's assigned to you. Do in age form. I can't tell you it because it's part of the thing.
Okay.
I don't understand why, but and it's just repeating that continually. But it's so easy because you just repeat this and allow your thoughts to carry away. And
Where
then
do you get this mantra from?
you go through like TM training.
What's TM?
So it's transcendental meditation.
Okay.
If you search it online, there's places that you can do. There's a guy up here that does it, but you just go through a 3-day training course. They give you this tool and how to use it. It's very, very easy. It's one of the easiest forms of meditation. There's none of this like sit here and just don't think, because that's not what meditation's about. It's just about letting the the thoughts go through, and then the mantra will come back.
Nice.
And then take through, and then it just allows us to kind of filter, and then you can get to a point of where you feel like you're floating. It's really just soothing for the mind. I do that, and then I'll do a yoga nidra in the morning, which is like a body scan meditation, which balances out the nervous system. Really good if you're exhausted and you need rest, because I don't really sleep a lot at night. When I do sleep, it's not deep sleep.
Right.
I do that, and then with that, on top of that, I do affirmations every morning. I affirm things that may have blocked me in the past and reaffirm them in a positive, so then I can move forward, and that it changes my life. And they work within days, hours sometimes of me setting it in place. And then after that, I do some just journaling, just getting stuff out on paper.
I hear more and more people talking about like the benefits of journaling.
Yeah, but it's all a form of journaling with the affirmations, and that's my morning routine. Get up.
Can you dive a little deeper into what the affirmations are, just so that I understand?
Yeah. Okay. So, tell me something that you've got a block on at the moment. Something that's working with you, and I'll see if I can come up with an affirmation for you.
It would be to do with being self-employed and being proactive with that.
Okay.
Trying to work on my portfolio.
And what
create videos.
What's the block? Why is it?
The block is this. I don't know. Actually, I've got this underlying negative thought that I try and not let in too much, which is that ultimately it's not going to work, and that I will have to go find a job.
Your affirmation is that I find security in everything that I do.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You can also put everything that I plan works out the way I want it to.
That would be nice.
It's just pulling that negative thought and then putting it into a positive. Because if we feed our mind negativity,
I know.
it stays in that lens. So you can wear a gray lens all your life if you want, or you can take it and go, oh, I really feel awkward in this social. I thrive in social situations.
Yes, yeah.
Which is I do it almost instantaneously now. If I'm going somewhere and something comes into my head, I take it, flip it, and then say it all the way there, and then it goes away.
Yeah, I feel like I'm halfway there in terms of like I'm self-aware of my thought processes all the time, because I've done it so long now that I'm always watching them.
Yeah.
My problem is when it gets into that negative space, I'll see that it's happening, where it's like, oh man, in 6 months, you're gonna have to get yourself a real job and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what are you doing? But then it will continue long enough, and then if it happens for too long, then I go flat.
Yeah. So
and then I'm fucked.
So that part that you go, what am I doing? Or what are you doing? If you just embrace it and thank it, because it's part of you. This is what I work with parts. And go, I realize that, and bring it up to date where you're at, that it served you at one point in your life, and ask it for some space. And then it'll just casually space off, because otherwise it feels like it's being ignored, and then it feeds into the beast that you're trying to bring to the,
And then replace it with a positive affirmation.
And replace it with a positive affirmation.
Yeah, I like that.
And
I need to be more intentional with that part, I think.
You could be more intentional with it, yeah.
Because it's funny, right? There's layers of self-awareness. You have, you can be self-aware of your own thoughts, but it's like that's not necessarily enough. you need to be proactive.
You got to be proactive with working with the thought process.
Because otherwise, you
and
just
the patterns.
I mean, I feel like we're observers anyway, but then you're actually just watching yourself be. You could just observe yourself spiraling, or getting into a negative space. It's like, well, self-awareness isn't serving you at all right now.
Yeah, well, it's a case of recognizing that you're on a spiral, and then turning that spiral the other way.
Yeah,
and it is as easy as just flipping the way that we speak to ourselves.
Yeah, and it's practice, right? Like it's turning it into your default.
Yeah,
it's like you say, like you do it so quickly now with the affirmation.
Yeah.
It's the same with self-awareness, like watching your thoughts. Some people are just on automatic and they don't even take that step back.
Yeah.
And then once you do it a few times, you're like, oh, this is cool. And then it just becomes a part of your being.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and then gratitude every night. So my spiritual teachers, Peggy and Stephen, beautiful human beings, powerhouses of humans, like in the spiritual world. Just my heart goes with them, and they've helped me change my life. They say count your pearls before you go to bed.
Is that all the good?
All the nice moments, or what my mate says is glimmers.
Of that day, or
of that day, and it can be as easy as what are 3 things that went well for me today. They don't have to be like spectacular, like, oh, I'm really grateful for all of this, because like gratitude can be monotonous sometimes. And to make it easy, we can simplify it down to that. Now I do a 15 things I'm grateful for every day, and I try to point out at least 3 that have happened in that day, and I search. The key is in the searching for the gratitude. So you could be like, oh, well, I'm grateful for this chair because I'm sitting in it, but that's pretty obvious, right? If we go as deep to going, well, I was walking down the street, and then, oh, that really lovely lady gave me a nice smile, and we had a nice little interaction together. That's like where true gratitude comes in.
I love that.
Yeah. Little glimmers, man, because we can be grateful for the things that we have, but it's also easy to be ungrateful for them as well.
I totally agree, and some of the most beautiful moments in life are in the most simplistic, right? It's sometimes in the most simple interactions.
Yeah.
If you can find gratitude in that, then you're winning.
And
right?
if you can find gratitude in the things that didn't go right for you, because they actually, just because they didn't go right, doesn't mean they went wrong.
No, and I've had that. No, I completely agree, and because sometimes the difficult parts of life or the sad moments in life, there's a lot of beauty in that as well, you know, because that gives everything contrast and that gives everything perspective.
Of course, yeah.
And so you do have to be grateful for the difficult challenges as well.
Without the dark, there's no light.
Yeah. But at the same time, that's difficult, right? Sometimes finding the beauty in the dark and the things that hurt us.
It takes work.
Yeah, and especially because I think the majority of us have been raised and conditioned in a way where sad is bad, and like, you know, you see it with parents and children. Like, children cry and they try and hush them. It's like, oh, it's not that bad. Why stop crying? And it's like, that is not the right way to do things.
Guilty.
Like, yeah, no, absolutely.
we all do it because we're not taught how to do otherwise, are we?
Yeah, exactly. We're all programmed.
Yeah.
Like, our upbringing taught us that.
Oh, completely.
And I did an episode with Briggy, a podcast where we were talking about ADHD kids. And I was saying to her, like, I absolutely would have raised Bella the way that I was raised had she not given me a different way of doing it. And she didn't make it up. She found it. She stumbled across it.
Yeah.
You know, these different parenting styles, like conscious, respectful, gentle parenting.
Yeah.
Which to some people are like, you know, you're going to raise a brat. And it's like, no, just an emotionally mature child.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, if you haven't got the tools, if you don't even... It's the same with self-awareness and things in spirituality. If you haven't been shown the tools, it's very difficult to know that they even exist.
Of course, yeah. And, you know, I've had to... I've been teaching myself to just allow it, and like showing that my daughter, it's okay that you're angry. I accept totally where you're at, you know. And even if we as adults don't react the way that we would like to, we have the option and choice to go back and say, I'm really sorry. I acted completely different. Like I acted in a way that may have upset you, but this is how I felt at this point, and that's not that made me feel that way.
Absolutely.
And this is how I am. And the more we do that, the more that the child can feel safe in our presence, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I get goosebumps hearing that because it's so important.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of my growth is learning all of that stuff.
Same.
And it's not so much the accidental damage that we might do along the way with our children or with other people, it's the repairing.
Yeah.
Like, we can repair just by acknowledging that it's something that exists. And this goes for, like, parents that have 40-year-old children. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the child's always going to be the child, and you can always repair.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, right? Like.
Yeah.
Like, there's a spectrum of abuse that's gonna happen. And, like, you know, and I feel grateful that I haven't endured some of the heavier stuff. But, like, for me, emotional neglect was definitely, like, looking back on it, I was a sensitive kid.
Yeah.
I mean, because I do feel like some people are born on different levels of sensitivity anyway.
Yeah,
And
100%.
like, I think I probably needed more emotional guidance and support, which I didn't get. Alas, here we are. That's why I've got so many beautiful human beings entering my life now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people at the moment that feel quite lost.
Yeah.
The state of the world, the state of social media, a lot of places. So if anyone that's feeling lost or struggling with mental health, or the two, what kind of advice would you give for those initial steps?
Reach out. The main thing is to remember is that we're not alone. And unfortunately, in the society that we live in, it's been programmed to make us feel alone. So no matter what you're going through, there's somebody going through something similar, and just open up and talk about it. If somebody doesn't accept what's going on, then somebody else will. And it's just important to vent, to express, to, find your tribe. We've all got a tribe. It's still there. They've tried to strip it away from us, but we still have it. Find a hobby that you like to do. Look into therapy. There's so many different therapies that work from the spiritual edge up into, the really heavy psychological edges. And you can find something there for and in between. Or you can find a friend who's like a therapist.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling, assess where you're at and who you have around you. And if hanging out with them isn't a balance and it's a drain, then you need to wash your hands. It's really important to step away from people that aren't feeding us with positivity. And of course, we're going to have times where not everybody's going to feed us that positive, and it's a seesaw, isn't it?
Yeah.
We call it a teeter-totter in America.
Teeter-totter.
Teeter-totter. It's a seesaw, and as long as we can come to a point of balance between it, those relationships are important.
Yeah, I think as people, a lot of us have, we've lost faith in our fellow beings around us. Do you know what I mean? Because there's been, if you look at media and social media, like we see a lot of the negative of humanity, but there's still like a lot of love and a lot of good.
Yeah.
And generally, like I believe that people want to help people. Like I feel like that's an integral, like an inherent thing that we have, is that we do want to help.
Of course we do. Yeah, of course we do.
But a lot of people have lost that belief, I think.
Yeah. I think another thing that I would say, if you're even can't get out of the house or you're struggling to reach out, is to look into doing gratitude and look into how to form affirmations, to reform how we view. If you feel people aren't safe, then I find safety in the people around me. It's just a case of reprogramming how we think, because the deeper and darker we go, the more we isolate. And the thing that we need to do, or that is best, we don't need to do anything, but the best thing to do for ourselves is to unisolate and then express and spread, because that's where we can find our safety again.
You mentioned before about you microdosing mushrooms and how that helped. And I know you've got experience with like plant medicine and like different, plant medicines. What would you say is the ratio, right, of doing the self-work, like what we were talking about, gratitude, reaching out, therapies, to plant medicine? Like, can you do one without the other?
With plant medicines, the best thing I could ever recommend is that you do a fuck ton of self-work before you step in that arena. Because I thought I did loads of it, and my language got torn a new asshole. Yeah. I'm grateful for it. Again, gratitude, because I'm sitting here now, right? To be honest with you, I think that for people who are looking for something to do and even considering plant medicine, breath work is a way gentler, easier modality that we can work with as well. And it's there, it's free. And as long as we're supported in it, can change lives as much as any plant medicine that I've taken.
I think that's good advice, man. I think I haven't done plant medicine. I will do when it's right. Microdose mushrooms. Yeah. But I do feel like there are people that have done lots of plant medicine, but they still haven't done the initial inward work.
No, they think it's a cure-all. It's not a
Yeah,
cure-all.
and they've. Look, I only say this from my limited scope of what I see. Right, you still have to do the work, and I think you can with like ayahuasca, for example, maybe have a hallelujah moment where, oh wow, there's so much more going on, but without some of the inside work, it's like you haven't got a context to place it.
Yeah, no, you
Is
don't.
that a fair statement?
You don't. Yeah, no, it's a very fair statement. One of my one of the shamans I know, Lizzie, she's a beautiful woman, says is if you don't integrate, it disintegrates.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but then
It's like,
how do you know to integrate? And if the only way you know how to integrate is by doing self work and understanding that the work comes from us.
right.
You know, I'm guilty as charged of going, I'm going to go take ayahuasca. She's going to cure everything for me. You know, and then I stepped in the arena and man, she did a good job at clearing some shit, you know, really, really good job of it. And I love her for it. But at the same time, there was some stuff that came up where I was like, how do I even handle this?
What do I do with it?
What do I do with this? But, you know, then the miracles start coming in. And I've had miracles that have appeared that have been...
So when you say miracles...
miracles, anything that comes in at a point in your life where you don't know where to go and it goes, there's a light. So little miracles that have happened with Mother Aya, and what she's brought to me is opening my perspective from thinking that I was just a tattoo artist and that's all I could be, to that there's a world in front of me. And then when I was presented with these options of I can do this or I can do that, then the path would just open. So like I started DJing, was like, oh, I really want to start DJing. I heard Two Step Garage, fell in love, was like, yeah, I'm on this. Like, and then boom, I had everything that I wanted there. I looked in front of me instead of being shadowed. Like I had like friends who've got sound systems that want me to go play, you know, just little breadcrumbs that can lead us to the goal of what we want to do.
Yeah, and when you couple that with gratitude on the journey,
Yeah.
what a fucking beautiful place to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, for me, with mushrooms have always had this way of showing me or bringing up in me what I need to be looking at in myself.
Yeah, the inward.
Psilocybin was always like, you need to work on this,
Yeah.
and this is why you feel this way about it, and it's jarring. But the mushroom by no means fixes it for me.
No, that's...
But the mushroom allows me to look at it in my fucking face.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go, this is the thing, man. And then it's up to me if I choose to do it or not. You know, it's like when the universe presents like these beautiful coincidences or opportunities, you don't necessarily have to take them. But
No.
if you're aware that it's being presented to you, there's a little bit of comfort in going like, oh, cool. You know, the universe has got my back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. What the plant medicines do, they bring it to awareness. What you do with your awareness is up to you after that, right?
Yeah.
I highly recommend, and this is what I've been taught through my journeys, is that anybody that journeys with plant medicine to do therapy. Find a psychologist or, you know, a therapist or somebody that works in a modality that you want to work with that is psychedelic friendly.
Yeah.
And there's more and more of them. I've got a list.
Yeah, Gabor Mate kind of like he brought a lot of that to the forefront, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And again, I've been blessed with, you know, being put in the line of therapists that just accept and understand that, you know, there's a bigger thing going on than we see in the, you know, and they understand the use of psychedelics and the power of them. And that's a big uprising that's going on, which is beautiful at the moment.
Are humans spiritual beings that over time have lost their connection to spirituality? Or are we just having a human experience that have realized that spirituality exists?
The first.
Right.
I think from if you look into tribes, spirituality's been there.
It's integral, right?
It's integral. It's very from the beginning. Unfortunately, what humanity's done is it's lost its connection with it because of, you know, what I would call the rat race, because we're just born into a rat race. We're born into, you know, your baby girl's born. What does she get for the first thing? Is a baby. So she's born to create more babies. And what do more babies create? They create more things that can be used for, and this is my opinion, in the building of a society that gets paid for it, you know, working the 9-to-5s, the warehouse jobs, building into the war machines that are destroying our world. Yeah. And I firmly believe that it's a programming. It's a deep programming that goes back fuck knows how long, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I sometimes wonder, like, when did this begin, this like self-destruct thing, this like obsession with capitalism and control over the masses? Like, there's just nothing makes sense about it.
No, it doesn't. But I have read something once. It started with agriculture. Because then we started to own land.
Yeah.
And then we stopped having to hunt and gather. So we had to stop using our brains to think about what we actually had to do, and then started creating problems for ourselves.
Those first people that started getting greedy, like that had like a domino effect for people, where more and more people started feeding this greed of of getting everything, collecting money and power and things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it just like became a plague in society, especially like in the Western world.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think we're all born, like, spirituality's there, man. Look at all of the, you know, recordings of spiritual and miracles and things that have happened throughout the world in life that have been actually written down. Like, you can't deny it, man.
What kind of course do you think we're on with humans in terms of spirituality? Because there seems to be more and more people talking about it, becoming aware of it, or kind of like leaning into it.
At the moment, I feel that there's a mass awakening going on, and I think we can thank that to some shifts in the galaxy, things that we can't even explain with our little human minds. Also, the fact that, you know, kids are waking up to see that their parents are fucking drinking themselves to death, or drinking and not taking care of them, and going, I'm not taking that path. You know, it's been there's been studies saying that kids nowadays, you know, younger teenagers and leading into, you know, early 20s are more likely to take a psychedelic on a weekend than to pick up a pint, and it's becoming more and more apparent. That to me says that there's going to be there's an uprising. The amount of healers that are coming out at the moment, like when I was starting my sound bath, I saw like maybe 2 or 3 people within the area. Now there's like 10 or 15.
Yeah, just from people that I've been talking to, just in the last 2 years, I've heard more of ayahuasca retreats and people like leaning into becoming healers than I've ever heard, like the majority of the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's a little bit of me going like, well, I hope all of their intentions are in the right place, because the nature of certain people, they exploit it.
Well, of course, there's predators in every world. Yeah.
But I think the majority of people, their heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then the people that they'll attract are the people that they'll attract, and that's that's just how it goes.
Right.
I believe in that. You bring in what you vibrate. You know, our vibrations attract to. You know, my sound baths, the people that come to them, like, they're like a family, man. And some people will come, and then I won't see them again, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You find your tribe, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, at least the way that I do my stuff, is that be as authentic as I can. I'm not fucking healed, man. You know what I mean? I'm just peeling a layer off the onion, and that layer might not sting my eyes as much as the next one, and then I'll get to a point where I'm okay for a bit.
Yeah.
But then there's always something else that's going to come through, because we're not just healing ourselves. We're working on healing ancestral stuff, which goes back again. How far?
Yeah.
But yeah.
What does the future bring for Jay? What is on the horizon?
Oosh.
because I know you've got stuff going on. Also, I just want to, for anyone that's watching or listening, I'm going to put links below of how you can find Jay and the sound baths and what we're potentially going to hear now.
At the moment, I'm working on a sober rave project. Yes. And I know that there's conscious clubbing, and those are my buddies that throw that at the minute, which is like ecstatic dance, and it's got a beautiful feel to what it does. And I love that these things are coming up.
So cool.
I'm so grateful that they're doing that, and then...
Because I mean, sorry to interrupt, but like clubbing was such a big part of my life. Right?
Yeah, still.
And like I haven't been out clubbing for years now, more so because we've had Bella. But like now I wouldn't take drugs and I'd prefer not to drink. Yeah. But I know I can tap into that feeling just with the music. The music takes you there. Of course. And I used to think I went clubbing and I needed to take the drugs to feel the beat, but the beat was the beat, man. Like I was tapped into the music. Yeah. Because I've had it at home where I'm playing like a drum and bass tune and I'm like, I'm there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, I get you.
So like sober raves make a shit ton of sense. And as a collective, like that vibe between everyone. Yeah, well, I can imagine pupils dilating anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the idea of the sober rave is to create a bridge for people who go to raves and to things that are around heavy drugs that they don't want to be around. Because I know personally I go, I partake with psychedelics, but then sometimes I'm around in a crowd of people, and this is no judgment. They're where they are, and it brings a beautiful thing, all like whether it's awareness or not awareness. But it's to create a bridge for free people to come, and then for them to go back and tell their buddies, "Oh, I went to this sober rave, and they gave us this cacao stuff, which opened our hearts and or gave us a buzz or whatever it does." To then lead them into, oh well, we can do this with stuff that's the next day I'm going to wake up and feel absolutely amazing about.
Yeah, and you can enjoy your Saturday.
Yeah, well, you can enjoy your whole rest of your week and your month. It's about, and because of the recovery process that I've gone through, I feel it's really important to have this bridge over, and that's where I see it.
I fucking love the contrast of like taking lots of heavy drugs and feeling shit the next day, and maybe you've created a little bit more damage in yourself, and then going to a sober rave and actually having recovered a bit of yourself from it. Do you know what I mean? Like therapy while raving.
Well, this is the idea, and it's
what a fucking beautiful thing.
We're doing an all day event with it. This is what the plan is, and we're in process of ironing stuff out and working with it. But we're talking breath work, cold dips, cacao ceremonies, and then ended with like a banging rave. 3 hours of banging hard nitty gritty music and experimental stuff. So it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but for somebody who likes rave, that's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah, and it's nice to have options, right? Like different things are going to tap into different parts of different people.
Yeah, of course. So that's one of the projects. The other project that I've got going on is an affirmation workshop. I've got that going on tonight. I'm going to be working with that monthly.
What can someone expect from an affirmation workshop when you come in?
So we're basically working through our problems bit by bit. We tell each other about what's going on. I use a process that Stephen and Peggy have taught me, which is called the 4 Angels, which is creating affirmations and then repeating them in multitudes of amplification of the voice, so high and lows, while tapping somebody to confuse the monkey mind. Nice. So that these affirmations go into a subconscious level. And then we create not I am beautiful or I am this. We create like one of mine is I'm fucking rocking it. My mate Jim gave it to me. I've got another one that's like I find safety in my sexuality. That's a good one. Things that really ring to us on a level. So then that they can carry us forward and help us remove the blockages that we have in our way. It's all about empowering humanity, man. That's what I'm all about.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. So that's the affirmation workshops, and then I'm forming day-long retreats. I'm just in the process of fine-tuning and finding the space in my schedule in between everything else. My sound baths, which I'm adding to. I've just added hammocks into it. So you can,
I saw that. That's such a great idea.
So we can float while we're doing it. and then working into bringing that into a 4D realm. So I'm looking at trying to find somebody who does projections of like geometry,
Nice.
and then having, you know, a good friend of mine, I'm still haven't discussed it with, but I'm sure he'll be on board. Bringing in like meditative tracks, and then I can bring in live instruments with it.
Cool.
So it's a full-blown experience. That's what's building at the moment. On top of that, I'm doing working on doing retreats abroad with people for plant medicines, with the option of plant medicine. And the big goal is to open a retreat center,
Yes.
a community-based retreat center where people can come and retreat if they need to get away or try to heal themselves from addiction, and be in a healing space.
It's going to happen.
Oh, I can see it.
So you've got a lot going on. What else have you got going that we should let people know about?
The main project is called Beyond Silence Healing. That's what I trade under, and that's to do with my sound baths, the men's groups that I run, that I co-facilitate with, and just creations to help empower humanity. So
Where can people find all of this? Where's the best place to track you down?
the best place to track me down for the minute is on Instagram at Beyond Silence Healing. I also do men's groups every third Friday of the month
Tell me.
at Rococo. They're free of charge. Just come, show up. We accept anybody. If it's not your thing, you're happy to leave at any point. But
And just to add, people don't have to be of a spiritual persuasion to come to it. It's about,
no, it's just about men getting together with men and talking about it.
which more men need, right?
Yeah.
More than ever.
Yeah, very much so.
Jay, mate, not just thank you for coming in, but thank you for the work that you're doing for humanity, man.
Thanks, bro.
Like, you're making changes,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful to see people helping their fellow people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks.
I'll leave links to that underneath as
Yeah,
well.
great. Thanks, man.
Cheers, dude.
Yeah, thanks,
Nice
brother.
one.
All right. Love you.
The real pressure in the media.